Hi, I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. All right, so this story came out today on Dave Ramsey, and the title is I'm 73 with student loans and no retirement. One of the things I'm going to try to do is to do reactions to the Ramsey student loan videos because they seem to be very popular. And obviously, I'm very interested in student loan debt, and I've been following Ramsey for quite some time. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and listen here. I believe this story came out about 7, 8 hours ago, and it's September 26th. Yeah, September 26th. It's Tuesday, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Also, while I'm adjusting myself here, um, I have a new HD camera lens. So I'm hoping that it's easier on your eyes, especially if you're on those big screen TVs where things can get kind of fuzzy. So anyways, I hope it is more enjoyable for my audience. All right. This particular episode I've not listened to, and chances are, because I am trying to upload more frequently for you guys, it's easier for me, honestly, to like the Ramsey videos to just listen to them first time through. So my reaction is literally with your reaction. It's less time consuming for me, so I will probably do that. Whereas other clips, I kind of need to read through it first and stuff. But let's go ahead and see what Mr. Ramsey has to say. And thanks for joining me this evening. Also, I appreciate it.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. Robin is in Phoenix. Hi, Robin. Welcome to the...
Actually, I'm going to stop here really quick. I'm going to turn off the subtitles. I find that sometimes when there are subtitles, when multiple people are talking, it can be hard to figure out who's talking. So we're just going to go ahead and flip that off really quick. And the speed also is on 1.5.
Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you, gentlemen, for taking my call.
Sure.
I am going to retire in about 3 years at 76.
Okay, so 3 years, 76 years old. Now, I can say that we can look at the title and we know it's I'm 73 with student loans and no retirement. So that's as much information as I've gotten. And also, I don't read the comments because I like to have my own opinions, not the ones of other people. I'll read them afterwards. Okay, so wants to retire at 76. Whew. Okay, so hopefully their needs have held up better than mine have.
I have no mutual funds and no 401k.
Okay, so no mutual funds, no 401k. All right.
Question is, should I buy or rent at that time at 76?
Now, I'm hoping if they're planning on buying that they must have some nest egg somewhere. But again, the title says 73 with student loans and no retirement. I'm going to be interested in hearing about the student loan part. Okay, so if you have no retirement, the logical part of me says this is probably going to be a renter, and chances are they don't have a lot of money. But you never know, they might have, I don't know, a little nest egg or a little inheritance somewhere. Who knows? Let's find out.
Okay. How would you be able to buy if you don't have any money?
Yeah, well, I've got time. So
I've got time. Hold on, I need to drink some Pepsi for this one. I need to get a better looking mug than this thing. Actually, it's not really a mug. Okay, so this caller, I think the caller's a woman? I'm having a hard time telling if this is a guy or a gal. I think it's a woman, okay? Oh, geez, I hope I'm right, okay? I've got time. Now, I'm 56, and I'm thinking to myself, I got time. I have 12 years. I've started up my retirement account, okay, putting 35% of my income into it. Just started doing that to complement, knock on wood, if I'm able to complete all years. I've got 12 years away to a 30-year pension plus Social Security. I've got time for my financial mishaps from the past, okay, including my $110 student loan that was forgiven in 2022. That to me is I've got time. So I've got to figure what they're at 73 saying they've got time. Interesting.
currently my income is $4,500 a month. $2K is going to rent. $2K is going to student loans.
Did you hear what I hear? $4,500 a month, $2,000 to rent, and $2,000 to student loans. Remember, I haven't heard this, so I'm absorbing it as we go along here. $2,000 to student loans at 76 or 73, 76. I thought they said they were 73 wanting to retire at 76. They're almost 80. I look at how frail my dad is. I couldn't imagine him going to work at this age. I couldn't even imagine it. I wouldn't want him to. So I'm trying to figure out $2,000 student loan. How much debt did this person get into, and how long have they had the student loans?
And I spend 500 on daily on debt, living expenses. Now,
You're 70 years old and you have a student loan?
Yes, yes.
I'm willing to bet. Okay, if I'm a betting person, I could be wrong. They probably had this loan. If you're taking out loans 76, I'd say they probably went to school in their 40s, maybe pushed it into their 50s. Let's see if my prediction's right. But this means they've had the student loan for a while. Because nobody at 76 years old, I can't tell if the person's 73, 76. Well, we'll just say 76 because that's what it says here. I can't believe that somebody in their 60s said, hey, I think it's time to take out a student loan. So I'm going to predict that they had got it sometime in their 40s, maybe 50s. People, do you see how long these student loans can last? These things will follow you straight to the grave. They'll have Sally Mae written on your headstone.
I haven't paid it off yet, but I will pay it off. It's expected to be paid off in March of 24.
It's expected to be. Now, I don't know if they're, looking at student loan forgiveness. I'm doubting it. 76. Wrap your head around that. 76 years old. And I think I heard correctly, $2,000 a month.
Okay. What's the balance on it?
12,000.
Wow.
Okay. That's better than I thought. I was thinking it'd be like 50, 60, 12,000. But again, $12,000 at 76. 2,000. I swear I heard that right. I hope I did. Okay. Doing these type of reaction videos where I haven't heard it before. I think they said 2,000. That's a ridiculous amount of debt. Okay. As someone who is debt free, that is my entire cost of living for a month. People, do not retire at 76. Oh, wait, actually, they're not even retired yet. Like, please, do not plan on taking student loans into your 70s.
So I'm paying $2,000 a month on that. 2K,
Okay.
yeah, 2K a month.
All right. I'm really curious how you end up with a student loan at your age. How did you do
So am I. I want to know, too. Inquiring minds want to know.
that?
Well, let's call paying the interest. I paid the interest only for a long time. So
What's a long time?
since 2020, since 2005, I guess. That's when I graduated.
You graduated in 05, so you graduated 20 years or 18 years ago, and you've been paying. And your degree is in what?
Okay, before we get into the degree, remember what I've said on this channel, okay? If you only pay the interest, you will never pay it off. We're talking just the interest. You'll either just keep the principal balance, the original amount that you owed, that's going to stay the same. Or even if you're able to pay interest plus a little bit of principal, it's going to take you years. If you watch the last couple of videos that I've done on this this past week, maybe two, I think it's about the past week, I've been doing these reaction videos. There's that one gal, and she took out $180,000 for a drama degree, and she's quickly realizing, okay, I try to hard to remember these numbers, okay, because these videos sometimes get a little confusing after a while because I watch so many of them. But I think she had about 100, I think she had 180, maybe it was $110,000 drama degree. It was $116,000 drama degree. $64,000 paid in student loan. I think I was out of a $118,000 drama degree. $64,000 paid towards the interest, with, if I remember correctly, only $14,000 actually paid towards the principal. This is what keeps you in student loan debt for forever. And if I had not had my student loans forgiven, it would have kept me in student loan debt forever. Because unfortunately, when people go, hey, when your servicer says, hey, we can get you income based, most people are like, terrific, sign me up. But what we're looking at is we're looking at the month to month and the interest that's not even most likely being met. We don't look at the entire balance. Kind of like buying a car and saying, what's my monthly payment? But you realize you can't ever pay off the car because you're never paying into the principal. Okay. I fell for it. I was very comfortable making monthly income-based payments.
Well, that particular degree, I've got some more since that time, but that particular degree was in communications.
I'm a journalism major. In the 80s, journalism slash communications was definitely not lucrative, but it was, I could get an office job anywhere. Trust me. And I was in my 20s bouncing around with my journalism degree. I could type and answer telephones, and then they assumed I could write. Okay. Communications degrees, and you're talking to a journalism major, all right, which is slightly different than communications, but it would be definitely considered a liberal arts degree and probably on the list of not so easily to pay off as far as what career you're going to find in it. And communications, especially today more than ever. I remember when I was in college and they said something, I kid you not, because it was in the 80s, because I graduated from the University of Oregon in 1989. I remember them literally saying someday, we're going to watch things on TVs that are flat and it's going to look like a picture on a wall. And I remember thinking, huh? And someday they're not going to need people, as many reporters and journalists to be running around doing stuff because it's going to be all done through technology. And I remember just thinking, okay, we're going to get this flat TV thing on the wall. It's going to look like a picture and we're going to have a different way to communicate. They got this 18 years ago. Here's another hard fact. Can there be a time when you are just too, I don't like to use the word old because I'm 56. Can there be a time when it is not ideal for you to go to school to accrue student loan debt because you should be worrying more about retirement, where you are actually better off making less money but staying more out of debt so the money that you are making can go towards retirement? In other words, don't take, one step forward in getting a degree, but then two steps back. My personal opinion, I believe in your 50s. This is my personal opinion. Feel free to disagree in the comments. Argue amongst yourselves. That is okay with me. Just keep it polite, okay? I believe in your 50s, you should be focused more on retirement and housing stability if you don't have it than you should be worried about a degree. Otherwise, you wind up like this woman. I'm going to assume this is a woman, okay? I'm just going to assume it's a woman. My apologies to the caller if it's not, okay? Otherwise, you're going to wind up like this woman and you're going to be going, I'm 76, I paid for this degree 18 years ago. And if I'm correct from the call, they have more than one degree. And $12,000 isn't actually that much left in a balance unless you're 76 years old making $2,000 a month payments and you have no, what is it? You have no retirement.
Okay. All right. What do you do for a living?
I'm a quality inspector.
Okay. Wow.
Quality inspector. No disrespect to quality inspectors, but that's a pretty big range there. Are we quality inspector at Walmart checking that the Heinz ketchup is lined up, or are we quality inspector at NASA or Boeing? Quality inspector is a very large, what is it? I don't know what the word is, okay? It's got a wide range of possibilities. I'm going to assume, however, due to the fact that there is no retirement, due to the fact that 76, and this caller saying, I've got time. No, no. Just like I've said before, it's never too late to change your situation. You can be 80 and decide, oh, you know what, I've been overspending. The problem is, I do believe it can be too late to change it in such a way that you could have lived a much more comfortable retirement had you done something 10 years earlier. Even 10, 15 years earlier would have made a difference. My 12 years is going to make a difference. So, anyways, quality inspector. I'm going to assume it's the lower paying job of quality inspector, but I could be wrong.
All right. Um, the thing that runs through my head is this. Obviously, you at retirement have to have monthly money to pay an electric bill and buy food and provide shelter. Okay. The largest line item in your budget for the rest of your life, if you live to be 95, another 20 something years, is going to be housing. And if you're renting, your cost of housing is going to go up every year because rent always goes up.
The place that when I bought my condo in 2020, I paid $100,000 for it. My condo now sells on the market for 200,000, and I mean those the units are flying off the shelf as fast as they put them on. Okay, so as soon as one of the units goes up for sale, boom. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. I had a gal pal who sold her condo, probably around 700 square feet or so, and that sucker was sold within 24 hours. That was a little over a year ago, putting it on the market with 8 people in line to buy it and more, I'm sure, if they had wanted to. Rent never goes down. And I don't buy into the stuff that says, oh, the market's improving, rent is slowing down. It may slow down how fast it increases, but never in all my years of renting, and I have rented for decades. I've been a renter more than I've been a homeowner, condo owner. The rent never goes down. It doesn't matter what the market does. And even if it does go down, it's most likely going to be a teaser rate to get you in. And then guess what they're going to do as soon as you get in and it comes to that lease renewal, they're going to make up all the money that they were really trying to get out of you. Rent doesn't drop.
That makes sense?
Yes.
If you buy, at least you're locked in to what you're going to be spending on housing from this point forward.
Now, in my case, in Florida, there's HOAs are just everywhere. Okay. However, I still believe, excuse me. However, I still believe that it is better to be an owner in an HOA community than a renter, because like in my HOA, the goal of our HOA is to break even with what we need to do every year, and that includes meeting the Florida new roofing law. We had to get a new roof on, $2 million maintenance project, okay, yada yada. The goal of a really good HOA is to break even and to have, of course, the legal reserves that you need. The goal of a corporate property manager, of course, is profit. And this is why the older you get, it's my belief, don't buy into those news stories where you hear all these major corporations are renting houses. They're buying just blocks of houses, and then they're going, but the American public wants to be a renter. We want that flexibility. Sure, maybe in my 20s and 30s, but once you start hitting those 50s, okay, you really want to stabilize your housing. For me to become debt free, I had to stabilize my housing. And I could thank my late mother for that assistance and my late stepfather, okay? But I had to stabilize my housing. I could not do it without that. Every October, walking up the stairs to my little 675 square foot apartment, and there was the rental notice on the door. And when I left in 2020, it was my rent was $1,000 a month for my 675 square unit, no washer dryer. Today it rents for about $1,800. So housing stability is mandatory unless you're independently wealthy, okay? But for most of us, it's mandatory as the older we get.
So buying is good. Having a paid off home by the time you get there is even better. And of course, having a nest egg to live on. So do you have...
And the nest egg that I was always taught, I was raised in a family of teachers, okay? I was always taught you needed 3 things. You need Social Security. So it's important that you work, for most of your years. You need a pension, preferably 25 to 30 year mark. And you need your own nest egg. That is what they often refer to in retirement. I did not make up this term, but I've heard it, okay? It's called the 3-legged stool. The reason you want that 3-legged stool is if one of those legs should break or be wobbly, you still have the other 2 to support you. And this is why, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. For those of us who are old enough to remember the Enron fiasco, and I mean people put all their money into Enron, okay? And when Enron went down, the whole kid, everybody's retirement went down. The goal is that you have those 3 nest eggs. And you can feel free to bake this down below if you wish. But typically the pension that I was taught that is most desirable are government pensions. Now, that doesn't mean the government doesn't, battle over money and all of that stuff. But in general, let's just face it, okay? Look at Yellow Truck that's recently lost all their pensions, okay, because they're going bankrupt. In general, I was taught that the most secure pensions are government pensions, and I would have to absolutely agree. Those are defined benefit pensions. So I just mimicked what my parents did.
A pension in the background of this, or are you counting on just Social Security to feed you?
No, I'll finish the rest. So right currently, what I have is a universal life policy that has a cash value approximately 9,000 in it. I'm reluctant.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with universal life insurance policies. I actually had one when I was married, and then when I got divorced, I let it go because there was no need for me to have life insurance. So I'm actually pretty familiar with them. And a universal life insurance policy is such that you contribute, a certain amount of life insurance money to it, and then after so many years, that life insurance becomes worth so much in cash, and you can withdraw, borrow on it, and stuff like that.
To cash it out because it has a long-term care rider.
Okay, I'm gonna back that up again just a real quick second.
A long-term care rider that has a cash value approximately 9,000 in it. I'm reluctant to cash it out because it has a long-term care rider of 50 months on it at 4%. So that's going to give me about 1,500 a month just for that. Now, as I share, at the end, by the time I retire, I will have.
I don't mean to chuckle in a inconsiderate way, okay? But part of me has to chuckle because by the time I retire, I'm that's something somebody my age would say at 56. Okay, well, by the time I retire in 12 years, this person is only like 5 years younger than my father, and maybe 6. And they're speaking so casual. Well, and by the time I retire, which God bless them if their health has held up, but speaking so casually about it, I'm the type. I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. Sometimes I bump the camera table, so I apologize. I would say now by the time I retire in 12 years, you're talking to a 73, 74, 75, 76-year-old person saying by the time I retire, and I'm thinking, when are you planning to retire exactly?
Have approximately $500 in pension, and
You thinking what I'm thinking? $500 in pension. $500. This tells me, and only $9,000 in a universal life insurance policy. They haven't spent a lot of time saving. And like all of us, we should wonder, where's the money gone over the years? And, I wish I had been their friend in their 50s. If they had said, hey, should I go back to college? I said, oh, heck no. And that's the polite version. I said, no, don't go back to college. $500 pension.
2,500. I'm guessing 2,500 in Social Security, which would give me 3,000.
And you have no money in savings at all.
$1,000.
1,000.
Hold on, I need some Pepsi. $1,000. 76 years old, $1,000, a $500 pension, which says you either didn't stay on the job that long, okay? I mean, 500 is better than nothing. $1,000. What went wrong? Something went financially wrong here, a lesson that we can learn from. And I suspect it's not peeling ourselves out of debt. It was just consistently getting into debt. And it could be that this caller was told, keep going, just move forward, keep going into debt because things will get better.
I got my 1,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want you to cash the universal in and pay the student loan down. And let's be done with the student loan very quickly. Let's get that.
I agree with that because first off, like I said, I've had a life insurance policy, and depending upon where they are on that life insurance policy, some life insurance policies can require you to still keep making payments. So yeah, you may be able to make a withdrawal, but again, depending upon the layout of the policy, because I had a universal life insurance policy, it can require you to keep making payments. You are paying for a policy, okay? But the neat thing about, when the student loan is paid off, that's a bill that doesn't come back again. So I agree with Mr. Ramsey on, take it and just get rid of this bill. Because in the picture of student loan debt, $12,000 is nothing. But here in this picture, it's a whole lot. It's $2,000 a month.
that in the background as soon as possible so we can try to accomplish a couple of these other goals, which is housing and start to build some kind of a nest egg over the next 3 years. So basically, you're going to live on beans and rice for the next 3 years while you throw as much money towards housing, buying a home, and as much money towards a nest egg as you can throw.
When should this have been started? I'm doing it now at 56, and I'm grateful that I have 12 years. Okay? I'm not really too nervous about it because it's just, well, I'm putting 35% away, and I know where I'm at with my in my career. You know, I'm almost at the 20-year mark in teaching stuff. I've got time, and I'm very blessed and grateful. But all of these steps, this should not be done in your 70s. This call is a picture perfect. This call complements the video I did the other day. I'll try to link the video at the end. This call complements perfectly the video I did the other day about the couple that had no retirement savings and they're 60. These two calls, they're about a decade apart from each other, maybe a little bit more than that, but it was a woman. And, you know, she's got all these designer, or what is it? She appears to have some designer dogs. She owns a lot of stuff. Looks like she has some collectibles. They've been together 40 years. Nothing saved for retirement. This video could complement it. I'll try to link it at the end. We can learn a lot from the mistakes of others, but still be very respectful about it, of course.
And both of those are going to be better
Okay.
moves than a bad universal policy. So we've got to get the student loan in your rearview mirror to pull that off. So
Okay.
get the student loan in your rearview mirror, build an emergency fund, and then start saving for a down payment while you're putting at least 15% of your income or more into retirement. And I want you to save as much as you can save for retirement while putting down as much as you can put down on a house. And when you do buy a home, I want you to buy a very modest, a very inexpensive property.
If I didn't know any better and didn't look at the title of this episode, I'd have thought he was talking to a 20-year-old. Maybe 30. Maybe bump it up to 30. Definitely 40. I would never guessed he was talking to someone in their 70s. These are steps that should have been done way before. As a matter of fact, I actually, mathematically, because like I said, I was raised by teachers, so I got to see the lifestyle that they lived. They weren't wealthy by any means, but they were solid. Absolutely solid. I figured out that if I could get a teaching job by 37, 38, I would be able to retire at 67, 68. I can't legally retire before 67 to get Social Security, and then if I want to get the little extra Social Security, I need to retire at 70. So I think technically I really have to push myself to 68. I think it's an extra school year past my official retirement date. But I mathematically in my 30s calculated that. It was not a mistake. You know, when people sit there and they go, oh, it's, you know, you're so lucky, you're so lucky you got a pension, you're so lucky you're going to be able to squeak in 30 years. That wasn't an accident. Good retirement planning, in my opinion, is, what is it? It's intentional. I can't remember who uses that word. Some radio host person uses that word a lot. Okay, it's intentional. It was not an accident. So when people will sit there and sometimes I'll get somebody who says, oh, you're just so lucky. It wasn't luck. I planned it. But it was modeled for me. Even though I've had my financial disasters over the years, it was modeled for me. And this is so important. So even though I've had my financial disasters, I was able to correct my ship. Why? It was modeled for me. A good retirement plan, or even a stable one, is never an accident. It was planned.
I am more
Yeah,
concerned that you
I-
have basic shelter that is locked in on its monthly cost than I am you having a home that you are necessarily thrilled with.
I don't know anything about real estate, so maybe if anyone knows anything about real estate, they could chime in. What are the odds that a 76-year-old who's basically broke is going to be able to get a loan? If you're in real estate, I would really like to know, because I'm thinking you're a mortgage company, you're a mortgage lender. And you're looking at a 76-year-old person. They have nothing but a $500 a month pension. They're what was it? They're a student loan. You're trying to get it cleared. So let's just imagine you're able to clear that $2,000 debt. I'd really like to know if anybody's watching this and knows anything about mortgage lending, real estate. Not my area of expertise. Would she even be able to get a mortgage? I mean, just mathematically doing it? I mean, how important is age, I guess? That's what I would like to know. How important is age in addition to income and debt ratio to land a mortgage. That'd be interesting. Somebody could comment on that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to stabilize your future. That's my first goal. Your luxury or your comfort are secondary. But stabilizing the shelter aspects of your future next 20 years is really what I got to lean on.
Where's that? Put this caller in 20 years. 96. 96 years old. Think about that. And that's fine being 96, but you didn't start planning until 76. And the other thing to remember too is, yeah, they're working, but the competition is way decades, great grandchildren, maybe even great grandchildren, decades younger than you are. So trying to increase your income stream at this point is probably next to impossible. At least if you're working for others.
And wow. Well, the good news is I think you can actually make a pretty good dent in 36 months on this if you'll be very focused.
Okay, so it's 12, 24, that 3 years. So that's 76. Again, their age has kind of bounced around. So let's just say they're, I don't know, we'll say 76, 77, 78, okay? They would have made a big pool splash if they had done it at 50.
I think that might be one of the oldest student loan debt callers I've had.
That's the Raspberry Award you do not want. Do not be one of the oldest student loan. I'm not laughing to be cruel, okay? And anybody that knows me knows that. This is just one of those things you're like, you know, when I think my life is not going so great, you know, financially, or when I think of the hard day I've had or whatever, you know, and I think I can't get everything I want, I think I'm, you know, not that financially, you know, successful in relation to my peers, yada, yada. I have to listen to this and go, okay, you know, it's like, okay, Carrie, you're not so bad after all, except what you've got.
It's mind-boggling. I'm sitting there listening to that, and because we're having the student loan live stream tonight, it's absolutely free. RamseySolutions.com, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. It's important to point out that she is, and I don't throw this word around lightly. You know,
Amen. It is a she. Okay. I apologize. The caller is a she. All right.
this, Dave. She's a victim of this cultural message that has said, if you get a degree, you're going to get a raise. And sometimes that's true. Many times it's not, and she kept
My
getting
last
degrees
was in
degrees,
communications, and I'm not in communications.
See, young people in your 20s and your late teens that are going into college, yeah, just because you major in something doesn't mean you're going to land in it. And here's something to think about. You major in something, and it doesn't allow you to go into it because it pays so low. So you're forced to go into another job that hopefully pays more so you can work in the major that you chose that pays low. Does this make sense? Okay. In other words, you're going for a degree that doesn't pay a lot, but you're going to pay more than that degree will ever pay you. And because you've paid more than that degree will ever pay you, you can't afford to practice in that degree.
Exactly. She's in quality assurance. And so you've got to be careful. These degrees don't come with jobs. You still got to go out and find them, get them, and perform them well. And I'm not trying to be unkind.
And here's the thing. She was going apparently then, you guys know I'm horrible at math, so let's 18, let's just back it up 20 years. Okay, she was going apparently in her mid-50s. She was going after a degree in her 50s where she's competing with the 20-year-olds. She's competing with the 30-year-olds. Now look, I'm all for learning enrichment at any age, but there comes a point, in my opinion, that you start chasing after something. It's not just the degree you want and how much it pays. It's the degree you want, how much does it pay, and who is your competition. She went for this degree in her mid-50s. And from what I could tell earlier in the call, this isn't her first degree. Okay, this is a repeat. So I'm even willing to bet that $12,000 maybe was some consolidated debt of another degree, at least from what the callers, from what it sounds like. So those of us that are 50s, I'm talking to my age bracket because I'm 56. Is it financially wise, lucrative, whatever, to get a degree that you cannot pay off, because clearly she could not pay it off, that's also going to have you competing with people who are half your age. And now with all this computer hiring, okay, the computers are the ones determining. It doesn't even matter how beautiful a picture you attach to it or anything else. It just, excuse me, it just reads numbers. It reads years, dates. It's no longer looking at you. I would have never done this. But then I've done other stupid things, so I'm sure I've had my fair share of pie to eat. Hold on.
But there's so many people that still believe. You go through a layoff at 45 or at 50 and you go, I got to go get more education. Maybe.
But probably not.
Probably.
I completely agree. Don't do it. You don't need more education. At this point, you'd be better off saying, you know what, I'm going to go work at Barnes & Noble's bookstore. I'm going to put in, 10 hours a week there, and I'm going to do that for the next decade and take all that money and put it into retirement. That's money that could have been kept. She says her payments have been $2,000 a month. This had to have been a huge bill. Remember, it's down to $12,000. Okay, I don't know how much it is. Okay, but it was a big bill. If you're paying $2,000, and young people, just like she said, interest on the interest. At some point, when you're not even making the minimum amount to get into the principal, you're eventually in the whole line of all the bills you're in the whole what is it? When you're done paying it all, you're gonna find that you may pay more, most likely will pay more. You will have paid more in interest than you will have ever paid on the student loan, the original loan amount. And this is where people get in huge trouble, and you can't go bankrupt on it.
Not.
Yeah. Not at the cost of sitting at 70 years old to stop student loan debt.
No. And see, that's the exchange that makes me so angry about. And let me just be honest. Let me be an equal opportunity offender, folks. Both sides of the political aisle are in the business of student loans. It's big business. It's a lot.
If so one of my friends asked me a while back, why did Biden say that everybody was going to get these student loans and set up the bank account, not set up bank account, but they set up the website and made everything look like it was going? Because you have to remember, you're talking political parties, okay, are playing each other. Student loan debt is not a political party. It's not Democrat, it's not liberal, it's not extreme right, MAGA, it's not the leftist. Okay, debt is debt. Student loan debt is student loan debt. Always remember that. And the political arguing that you see and stuff, it's not really about what's in your best interest. Now, granted, yeah, sure, I benefited. I got my $110,000 student loan taken care of. But always remember, when you take out debt, nobody's really watching over you. And by the way, I got that 10-year loan taken care of after 16 years of teaching. Okay, it wasn't like I taught 10 years and they called it a. No, I was in my 16th year of teaching, and I was getting penalized for things like I would pay my student loan early, for the public service loan forgiveness, the PSLF. I got penalized like 6 months worth of payments. Why? Because I paid early. It's a game. We are the pawns, you must remember, in a political game. So stay focused. It's not about the politics of it.
A lot of money. And no one's talking about legislation or regulation
To stop it.
and to take on the unbelievable inflation
This is
in the world of
not
tuition.
doing.
I personally believe that if I were in charge of student loan debt, I think interest should be capped at 20. This is just if I could run this. I think for graduate degrees, interest should be capped at 25%. Absolutely no more than 25% of your original borrowed amount can be billed for interest, period, regardless of how long it takes to pay that loan off. That's for graduate degrees. I believe for undergraduate degrees, that's for the bachelor's degree, it should be at 20%. And for associate degrees, if I were in charge, I would say 15%. So in other words, someone gets an associate degree, the absolute most you can charge them is 15%. And those caps at 15, 20, 25, I would do that is because of the so-called value of the degree. Okay, a graduate degree, supposedly you should be able to earn more money. Okay, We're talking in the hypothetical world. Okay, we know it doesn't always happen. Okay, that would be at 25. So it'd be 15, 20, 25. That is the most interest that could be charged. I think it is ridiculous that somebody could take out, like that one gal that I did a video on, and like I said, I'll try to remember to link it at the end. Okay, she took out a $118,000 degree to be a drama major, and she's paid more than $60,000 in interest. That's insane. Absolutely insane.
A service.
No,
You people in government are not helping
that's right.
the population. You are harming the people that you're called to govern.
It's a hidden tax, Dave.
And people are getting filthy, stinking rich off the backs of people like her. And it really does need to stop. It really. I mean, seriously, would somebody grow a leadership backbone and send it to Washington, D.C.?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop this here, and I'll end it with my closing thoughts. This is one of those calls that you really hope that the person has family support. It could be any one of us. Okay, it could be any one of us that was perhaps naive to understanding how debt works. And it could be any one of us that when we were aware of it, it became too late. Now, well, I believe that it's never too late to change your life course, okay, and to put yourself in a better spot. I strongly believe that it can be too late to change it in such a way that you're going to be able to live the life that you wanted or that you could have had. I think there is a bit of perhaps naivety on the part of the caller, in the sense that there's a certain relaxation in her voice, like, well, I've still got time, and if I just do this for another 3 years. And I'm thinking, you're 6 years, barely 6 years younger than my father, and I couldn't even imagine him in this type of position. Any of my parents in this type of position at this age. And I think part of that, it seems like almost a denial. I think that's been part of the survival skill. This is just my opinion, okay? That, well, I've still got time. You keep telling yourself through your 50s, 60s, 70s, I've still got time. It's almost like you've convinced yourself of the lie. Okay. Now, again, this doesn't mean that you don't have time to, make things better than what they are. But do you really have time to make them what they could have been? No, you don't. And I think part of that has been a survival strategy. Okay. Just that I've got time. You really don't have time. Okay. I really, really hope this person is able to pull off the housing that they're looking for. I really would love it, though, if anybody's listening to this that understands how home lending works. It is not my expertise. What are the odds that somebody that is 76 years old with basically no steady income could even get a mortgage? Okay, I'm thinking the best bet for this person would be, honestly, to rent a house. To rent a room in someone's house. Rent a room, maybe live in someone's converted garage. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. Okay. I really just don't see it logical saying, yeah, we're going to go, I'm going to go ahead and, get a house. I know people who make plenty of money and they're struggling to find a house, especially if you're like in places like Tampa. Holy cow. I mean, what used to be, my condo, like I said earlier, was $100,000, now sells for $200,000. That's what houses used to sell for here. Okay, and condos sold for like $50,000. I really think this person would be better to simply, like Dave says, get rid of the student loan, but then rent a house. Rent a room. Spend your years renting a room in someone's house, because that's actually safer than going corporate. Because when you go through corporate, the increases tend to be bigger, faster, and a lot less forgiving. You're just a number. But if this person could rent a room in someone's house, maybe another retired person that would like to make a little extra money. Not only can they provide each other that, kind of Golden Girls TV show companionship, chances are likely that the annual rent increases won't be as high. I just don't see this person getting a house and settling like that. Just with the market as it is. I mean, God bless them if they can. But their job, as far as I'm concerned, is to lower that cost of living as much as possible. I hate to say it. And don't even get a storage unit. Forget the storage unit and people put their stuff in storage. No. Dump it. Dump it, let it go, except for the most crucial of items. Get rid of the student loan. Bank everything you can while you've still got those working years left. Okay? What's left? And rent a room, maybe from another retired person, or even a younger couple that wants kind of, a grandma figure around, whatever. Something like that. I think a lot of the calmness in this caller's voice really has come from years of denial, however. Just years and years of, I've still got time. It's almost, I'm like talking to someone who's near, they're meeting in heaven, and they're going, I still have time to make things right. There comes a point when time runs out. And I don't know anything about their family, okay, immediate family, but honestly, I think they'd be best off get rid of the student loan, like Dave said, and see if they could room with somebody that would love to have a little extra company. All right, I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit Chat. I hope you will consider subscribing and have a great evening. Bye.